Welcome back to Sonic Forces. Oh boy, best level of the game!
Okay, see you next
Have
part,
fun
bye.
getting the silver moon rings here.
How did Tails find out that modern Sonic is still alive?
Classic Sonic told him.
Because they hear
They
Eggman
overheard.
and Infinite says.
Yeah. Okay. I'm sorry. I lost interest in the story.
You see, the Sonic, it feels like classic Sonic and Tails being separate from the main group should have been a bigger thing, and it's not. You know, like, it's...
There are a lot of things that should have been bigger things, but it's like, okay, the story has so much ambition built into its concept, but it was shunted off to a filler project that they wanted to use while they're making a much bigger game with their main team.
Can't just hold right and move over there!
No, actually, guys, those fucking bumpers, I would say this is my biggest issue with Classic Sonic, even compared to Generations. This thing controls like shit.
Okay,
like,
you want to know something?
No, Ted, let me finish. Let me finish 1 second. Before, so like, I feel this, like, I have the same feeling towards this game as Retro did towards Sonic 4. It's like this.
So now you understand, Gareth.
This is a fucking insult to classic Sonic.
You
how he
see-
controls in this
no.
game.
I would rather play Sonic 4.
Sonic 4, best game ever made, of course.
Well, yeah, I mean...
Okay, you see, I'm going to disagree here. I didn't mind classic Sonic all that much. Like, I mean, I didn't
God,
like
I
it.
fucking hate
But
you.
the thing is that the 2D platform... Okay, let me explain what I'm thinking here. For the 2D platforming with the Avatar and Sonic, there's this really weird control thing where you start off and you accelerate the way you normally would, and then half a second later you snap to full speed. And
No,
it makes...
Classic Sonic does that too.
Okay, well then maybe I just didn't notice it. I don't know.
Classic
I
Sonic
just
does that all the
Classic
fucking
Sonic's
time.
everything about his physics, his momentum, his jumping is wrong.
Nothing makes sense.
It's fucking wrong.
Here I think is why you didn't notice it, Ted. I think Classic Sonic's top running speed is actually lower than the other two. That might be the only control difference between them, honestly.
I would say my favorite thing about this stage, massive sarcasm there, just in case it wasn't clear, is that there are no enemies in this stage bearing one, and they give you a shield before you even encounter
Well,
them.
you know, that might actually be an intentional joke. Casino Night Zone only had one Badnik, and it was a Badnik with a shield.
No, you mean just that one type of badnik, though?
Yeah, but it was also very sporadically placed within the level in general.
Yeah, this stage only has one egg bot.
Yeah, but
one
you know,
egg
that's,
bot.
it might be just an intentional joke. They couldn't make a unique.
Yeah,
Badnik, so they
I
gave you the
love
shield.
unfinished. You know what? Yeah, unfinished stages are a joke. You're right about that.
You
Yeah.
want to know
You
what
know,
else?
My
Go,
thing with
go.
Classic Sonic, where I noticed he was really jank and everything was not working as intended, you get to Chemical Plant, and Chemical Plant right off the bat starts off with a downward slope, which,
Yes.
from instinct from since I was a kid playing Sonic 2, you curl into a ball, you go down the pipe, and he's supposed to launch super, super high so you can get to the higher platforms.
The ramp launches you with such stiff physics that it's impossible to do anything
And you
with.
can't make it unless you make a revved up spin dash before you go to the slope. You can't make it just from pushing down.
That's what made those. That's even. You know what's even worse than that? If you run, forget the spin dash, forget spinning. Pure fucking logic would dictate if you run down that very big slope, you could make it up the very small slope upwards. Just because of the fact that you're running in a straight line that the game makes you run down. You can't fucking make that jump.
Oops.
What happened?
You can't fucking make it. It's so
What
bad.
launched you off the ledge there, dude? Like, nothing.
This is the water sliding here is indicative to how much control they really want to give the player, because one of the things that Amy says here is that it's better just to go with the flow. What she means is
Don't do anything.
Let go of that fucking analog stick that's going to get you killed. Don't play your game, kids. You just fucking look at it. You fucking look at it and you like
And when you're
it.
trying to get red rings, numbered rings, silver moon rings, have fun with that.
You see, what frustrates... okay, that's how the...
And they all just popped out of existence, all those moto bugs.
Okay, so here's the thing: is that a water sliding section like this actually would fit in a Sonic game if it were like a 10 to 20 second little set piece? Because they've got stuff like that in all of the 3D games.
Sonic
back to
Adventure 2.
Yeah,
Adventure 1 and 2, yeah.
And Sonic Adventure
yeah,
1.
like all of the games like have not necessarily with water, but have little set pieces like that. That water sliding section there, that 40 seconds, is the majority of the level. It's like, okay, let's take that water slide section from Lost World and Sonic Adventure 1 and make that an entire level without any of the cool platforming or the boulder chase or anything else that made Lost World actually fun. We're just gonna use that one water slide section.
Can I just say, touch damage in the Avatar stages is a pain in the ass?
You know, it's frustrating.
I was a cat, so I didn't notice.
You don't have a boost, so sometimes you'll run directly into an enemy, and, you know, especially if you're playing a version of the game that's only 30 FPS, you might not react this second fast enough.
Apparently,
and you'll run
Lewis,
smack into the enemy
the
you were
Switch
trying to
version
flamethrow.
graphically runs at 30 FPS, but apparently the game reads inputs at 60. So I played on Switch, I didn't notice any input lag. The game controlled fine. For me.
Yeah, but I'm not playing on Switch, so...
Oh, well, were you playing on... Wait, does the PS4... PS4 runs at 30, too? I thought it was...
No,
No, it runs at 60.
No, we play at
Peaceful
60.
60.
Play at 60.
If
It
that's
runs at 60.
60, it's a very not nice-looking 60.
Well, every version runs at 60 except the Switch version. Except, but as Ted said, the game acts as if it does. It just doesn't look like it.
Or that could just be orbital wobble. In any case, I keep hitting the flamethrower button and running into the enemy before it dies.
You know, it's the
He's a
combat...
rookie. You can't expect much.
The combat in this game frustrates me because with the different wisps and stuff, it feels like it should be more fleshed out, but honestly, the guns in Shadow the Hedgehog have more variety and are more fun to use, actually, than anything here.
I disagree.
Also, be thankful, Resistance, that Rookie happened to see that on the ground and just happened to pick it up and keep it.
I will be honest. I never changed whispers. I kept the flamethrower.
No, the burst
game.
is just easily the best one.
Hover's good too, but that's just because the hover wisp
guys, you
itself
get that?
is
He said it's been generations since I seen you.
But that call out makes the line feel stilted and unnatural, whereas it's been ages.
Also, apparently, it doesn't make any... Again... doesn't make any sense within this game's story because he's from another dimension. So, oops.
Well, Ted, I mean, Johnny, to be fair though, in context of generations, you could make the case that they do say the time meter throws them through time and space. Said space could be a alternate dimension. What Azuka says is God and life. This game's canon makes perfect sense.
We joked in the Generations playthrough that Tails built a transmitter to talk across our dimensions. That's what he said. So.
Comment, alright, Ted once made a supercomputer using only paper clips and some dishwasher detergent,
Wait,
okay?
when did I do that? Huh? You said me. I've never done that.
well,
Yeah, you said
I'm
Ted.
glad you have such a high
I
opinion
meant
of me.
Tails,
in
you're both
secret.
fucking
Why are you
worthless.
hauling out on us, Ted?
Anyway, one of the things that I started to realize as I was going through this game is that most of the levels that I showed off early on were actually later levels in the game, and they looked like early game levels.
Yeah, that was the surprising thing, because everyone was like, when they first showed this level...
This is stage 15, and it looks like stage 1 of Sonic Colors.
Yeah, it's like, oh, it's just a straight line and easy because it's supposed to be the first stage in the game or something. It's like, no, it's halfway through the game.
It's stage 15. It's literally halfway through the game. You're right. Jesus.
The Sonic Forces Defense Squad did nothing wrong.
I don't follow Sonic drama.
You can't.
say,
Do you follow Sonic in general, dude?
That alone is drama.
Yeah, I follow Sonic in general. I don't follow the fan base. Screw the fan base. The fan base is the worst part of Sonic.
Can we make a poll online about who's more pathetic, the Sonic Forces Defense Squad or the SA3 fan page?
You know, so I blur my eyes. Sometimes they're one and the same.
Honestly, they probably are one and the same because the Sonic Adventure 3 fan page are the people who want the exact wrong things from an Adventure 3. So yeah.
I like it. Again, can we go back to the fact that apparently Colors is too political of a game, but this game where it's literally talking about like trying to overthrow like the world and shit, it's perfectly fine.
Yeah, man,
Okay.
those wisps deserved it.
Okay, so Okay, I was just reminded that I'm not the only one who thinks that the double jump in this really, really sucks, right? Like, if this is...
No, it sucks.
It's got no control. It's like, okay, somehow, whenever I use the double jump, I screw up my jumps further than they were already screwed up, so I just sort of stop using it.
Thank you, yes.
Oh, hi,
Also,
Shadow.
hi, Shadow.
Okay,
I like how Sonic just stops on a dime when he sees Shadow. He's like,
Ryan,
oh.
quick thing. I would have loved it if you would have, because if you get the DLC, you can play all of the modern levels as Shadow.
Yeah, you can have Shadow
if
meet
you
Shadow.
played that level, Shadow just
You
finds
can play
himself.
all of the modern levels as Shadow, except for like maybe
I think
one or
it's the
two.
you can't play the ones where you
You
team
can't
up
play
with
the
the
ones with
Avatar.
the really big cinematic set pieces.
Yeah.
Ugh.
But this one doesn't have any, so you can't have Shadow meet Shadow.
But you have to
Yeah.
beat the level of Sonic first is the thing.
That's fine.
what?
I don't mind
Yeah.
that, but oh god, this is the fact that Shadow and Chaos don't get boss fights is
It feels like there
lame.
should be boss fights. It feels like there should be boss fights and they forgot to make them.
Yeah,
At the
that's
same time, though, we did this with Generations. We don't need to do it again.
well.
True,
the,
true.
the chaos one bothers me more because that would have been at least a second boss fight for classic Sonic. He only has one otherwise, and ugh.
Also, gameplay recorded. Recording paused. Camera recording resumed.
Jesus Christ.
Those text things are apparently cutscenes.
You can turn those off.
Yeah, although guys, I'll say about that cutscene, I love the fact that Sonic just stands still and just basically cries as he waits for fake Shadow to kick him in the face. I could move, but I'd rather just cower in fear.
I can forgive them not giving Shadow a boss fight because Shadow at least has something to do in this game in the terms of episode Shadow and being a filler character. But why would they make such a beautiful goddamn model for Chaos Zero and then not fucking use it for anything but one cutscene?
No, he's in two cutscenes.
Technically
You see
two.
Chaos Zero fighting all of the resistance people. at the end.
But after that, he only appears in the cutscene where he gets stomped on by classic Sonic.
Yeah.
Although Lewis, technically we do see a bunch of his clones later on, but can I just say,
Yeah,
in
but
terms-
they're just doing generic run cycles. Never mind that.
they're still there though, Lewis. They're still fucking pleasing you.
You know what would have been a good idea for Infinite's, copycat powers of just creating other characters? Why can't we have like evil
Howard the
Amy or
Duck?
Vector and have boss fights against clones of them or something? That would have been interesting.
They could have faked a brainwashed Sonic or something and fuck with the.
Okay,
Yeah.
I sort of understand why, like, logically within the universe, Infinite makes copies of old Sonic villains. It's because the Sonic characters, well, for the most part, at least enough of them for it to work, are familiar enough with these characters' capabilities that creating these virtual reality illusions of the characters is, something that would logically
it still would have been more fun gameplay wise.
Can we do? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I think it would have been. I think visually it would have been more interesting if there was like an evil version of the Resistance.
Yeah, there are a lot of things in this game that would have been more interesting. It would have been more
Yeah.
interesting if they had taken this highly ambitious storyline concept and did something with it. But,
Yeah.
I never thought I'd hear remixes of Shadow the Hedgehog music.
Dude,
Hi,
can we just say
Washout.
this remix is so fucking good.
You want to know something? I actually think it's the Radical Highway parts that get in the way of the remix, because as soon as I get into the
Yeah.
Westopolis melody, it goes ba-dum-bum with the Radical Highway drop, and I'm like, okay, all right.
So no joke.
Best song in the game.
Westopolis, the original track is one of my favorite tracks from this franchise.
I like it
Fucking
too.
I
Honestly,
fucking love the Westopolis track. It's so good.
Shadow the Hedgehog is like the only Sonic game I think that's more of a mess than this one. I'm not saying that this is like worse, or though this game's a mess. That doesn't necessarily mean it's the worst. I should specify that.
From a game design standpoint, it's a clusterfuck, is what you're saying.
It's one of those things where I see the good game that could have been in both Shadow and this, and the fact that it's not there, not only it frustrates me, but it makes it very interesting to analyze. Also, I love how that's the same level that we just played as Sonic, like almost identical. Jesus Christ! Did they have nothing?
I'll agree with you, Ted. I'll also add on that, like, the only thing that makes Sonic Forces easier to play than Shadow the Hedgehog, I would say, is not that it's less of a mess, but more that the mess that came out was a more streamlined gameplay experience. It's simpler and it's less convoluted. It doesn't make you replay the first level 10 goddamn times to progress, only to collect clothing items.
This is definitely a better game than Shadow the Hedgehog.
Technically, it doesn't, but it does make you revisit Green Hill and Chemical Plant about 10 times each.
Three times each.
It does really feel like they had a longer Green Hill, a longer Chemical Plant, and then they chopped them up into small bits and then use that to extend the level count. Because it's not traditional for Sonic games to only have about 10 to 12 levels normally. Like, that's usually enough for most Sonic fans,
Well, no, I mean, Ted, if you think about it, how many levels did Colors have? Because there were 6 worlds.
Well, there were 6 worlds,
6
and
acts, Terminal Velocity had 2. So I mean,
Yeah, but the first act of every world in Colors was the only one that was a traditional length and feel. They acts 4 through 6 were all short.
Yeah, but Ted, I would argue though that most of those short acts still last longer than the average Forces level.
Gameplay recording paused. Gameplay recording resumed.
That is critical information that cannot be spoiled, Ryan.
Point granted, Gareth, but that just says more about how lackluster the levels and Forces feel than anything about.
Actually, I will point out that a fair chunk of the levels in Colors actually last about a minute. Tops. They're really, really small. And some of them are really
But I'm having a lot more fun in that game, so they feel longer.
Yeah, and some of them take a while, but are physically small. They're just some sort of really condensed platforming challenge with rotating platforms or some kind of puzzle going on.
The extra...
You got that red ring by accident, Ryan.
Yes, I did.
The extra and special stages in this game feel the closest to one of the smaller Colors levels, and ironically, fittingly enough, those are really the only levels in this game that I felt were satisfying to play. So, yeah.
To me, they're more in line with the extra stages in Sonic Lost World with how much they meant to me.
Also, Highway Jungle remix.
I know I'm the weird one, but I still don't like this remix.
What is it about? What is it about the White Jungle that they
vocals
don't
and
like?
the fact that it's more synthy than guitar, it just doesn't sound right. Also, they go obstacles, 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 obstacles,
I
like
just
the
want to
fucking
say,
records broke.
Shadow, please don't make me upset. Because I don't want to hear you. All right?
Okay, yeah, I see what you're talking about. The episode Shadow levels feel kind of like Unleashed DLC levels, where they kind of just are rehashes of existing.
This is the same. This is the thing.
Don't lose focus.
This is the same level that we just played as the Avatar. It's another pretty much just point for point retread.
Where the Unleashed DLC levels were, based on levels that already existed, but for the most part, they just had reshuffled item placement.
By the way, is everyone ready for Infinite's important and interesting backstory?
This is the most laughable scene in the entire game.
They make this big deal of not showing his face, but they show his face in the comics, don't they?
Yeah.
So why not show it here?
And his face doesn't matter because he himself does not matter.
Yeah,
I was able to freeze frame. I'm able to freeze frame this cutscene when I was editing the review. He has eyes, but he has no mouth.
They forgot to finish
Boot to the head.
face, so they kept it off camera.
Yeah.
I love the fact that this guy is meant to be the world's greatest mercenary, yet he doesn't realize that if I scream, "Take this," maybe the person I'm trying to kill will be able to see and hear what the fuck
I'm also unfortunately going up against a guy who can fucking teleport at will.
For the record, the Chaos Control effect looks the worst it's ever has in the franchise.
Whoever wrote this scene needs to sit down and be quiet now.
Leon O'Brien, the voice really is the only...
He is trying the best he can.
Ryan, I agree, he's doing the best he can. Unfortunately, this is the worst dialogue ever.
He's trying, but all I can hear is Akihiko Sanada from Persona 3 spouting generic villain dialogue.
I just hear Caius from Final Fantasy 13 too.
Do you know what I would rather have? Just take Liam O'Brien's voice clips from Zaz from Lost World and just put them over Infinite. You're going home in a box! You disrespecting me? Maybe.
You see, I originally didn't... I hated Infinite at first when he was first revealed, but the thing is that Liam O'Brien's performance and also his powers are actually kind of cool. But nothing's done with him. His backstory is really, really lame. And his motivation is pretty... he has no motivation. He's just I'm gonna be evil because Shadow kicked me in the face one time.
He's got it. No, he was already evil. He just has an inferiority complex.
Yeah, except that now Shadow has nothing to do with anything after this point.
He's basically Seto Kaiba. But when he said, we meet again, I thought they were actually going to pull the twist out of their ass that Infinite was Metropolis. That was my first thought.
Not to mention, the last thing Shadow says to him before he leaves is that I never want to see your face again. He submits to Shadow's request by putting on a fucking mask.
Well, that's just
Join me, Metropolis, and I'll make your face the greatest in Phobius.
You guys just talked over the greatest line of dialogue in this franchise's history. Question mark. Fucking good. It's fucking good
So is
shit.
this level not real? Is this level just Shadow having a fever dream under the Phantom Ruby or something?
This is Shadow trapped in a virtual reality dream, which one has to ask why, of all things Shadow could be trapped in, would it be Green Hill? My answer to that, the thought I just had right now, is that the reason it's Green Hill is because all this good cheer and color is antithetical to Shadow's nature.
So what? So wait. So what? He's Frieza?
It's like making him watch Care Bears as punishment.
Of course, one has to ask then why the virtual reality of Green Hill from 6 months ago has the same desert problem that the Green Hill version of
Well, no, the desert problem happened when Sonic was in Sonic's level 2, but that's before Eggman takes over the world still.
Yeah, but Sonic acknowledges that, so apparently in the universe it happened first. So,
Knowing what we now know about the Phantom Ruby, does that mean in Mania that Sonic was running in a hamster wheel when he thought he was in Green Hill and Chemical Plant?
This game essentially means that the whole of Mania was not real. So this game basically makes Mania is as important to the canon as 06 was.
Their explanation for what the Phantom Ruby is just makes Sonic Mania a big fat question mark on the entire Phantom Ruby storyline. Because virtual reality, but nothing that happened in Sonic Mania makes sense with that explanation. What did it do to the hard-boiled heavies in that case? Why was it able to teleport everyone to different levels that are geographically?
Because apparently the Phantom Ruby fucks with you psychologically so that you see illusions. But is it ever stated what the illusions are based off of? Is it based off your subconscious or anything like that?
I thought that was the entire premise between Avatar not getting hit by those cannons. I thought he overcame it, but.
It might have been that, but it's not explained as that.
Yeah, because that's if the illusions are based off of subconscious, it would explain why you go through past levels in Mania. But it also doesn't explain the idea of the hard-boiled heavies just being there in the first place. I mean, what are they based on?
Wow, Ryan.
Did Sonic at one point encounter a ninja?
You really did not give a fuck. You didn't even try to.
Who cares? This game is mediocre. For fuck's sake!
At least try to play it well.
Well, okay then, Lewis. You can record every new Sonic game from now on.
No, you know what? If I was in that situation, I'd do the same exact thing. Because fuck trying to time that jump.
Guys.
I'll record the next new Sonic game. Sure, I call dibs on it right now. Whatever it is.
Guys.
All right, Sonic 06 2 is just been announced. Yay!
Well, Ryan, essentially all this means is that in the next one, we can just take a leaf out of Lewis's book and then we can just shit all over his gameplay. Lewis, why'd you jump there for? What the fuck, Lewis?
Yeah, but
taking too much time to jump over the hood.
Kind of just wind up sounding petty if you do that, because I actually will be playing well.
Someone's got his ass.
Humble brag.
Hey, even my Sonic 06 gameplay was relatively decent, okay?
In 2 years, I'm going to have
Says the man who got launched to the moon. All right.
What were you going to say, Clement?
I was going to say, in 2 years, I'm going to have an S-rank playthrough of Forces anyway, so who cares?
Dude, your Sonic Adventure 2 playthrough was not an A-rank playthrough, all right? You got a B.
Yes, it was.
No, you got
it was.
No, you got 1B.
He A-ranked.
He got 1B.
He A-ranked everything.
You got 1B.
I got 1B in Eternal Engine because I died
It's
at
funny.
the end.
It's funny you say 1B because that's basically my mission list in Sonic Forces right now. I have S ranks in everything except the final boss, which I just haven't gone back to replay yet.
Oh, well, I can understand why you wouldn't want to replay this game's final boss, because it's terrible, but we'll get to that when we
Well,
get to
it's okay if you compare it to the Time Eater, but then, a herpes epidemic would be okay compared to the Time Eater, so...
It's okay, you know what? This game has one thing over Generations, and that's its boss is better than the Time Eater. It's still not good, but it's got that.
Well, yeah, it's kind of like... Actually, I think Jim Sterling, I disagree with some of his opinions on this game, but one of his statements is pretty spot on. Like, the good points aren't nearly as good as Sonic Generations, but the bad points aren't nearly as bad as Sonic Generations. So, it's kind of just,
Honestly, I disagree.
I wouldn't agree there. Yeah.
I would play Planet Wisp on Sonic Generations over any level in this game, because at least that feels like
that level is a drag, and I don't want to play it.
Yeah, but it feels like a complete level, though, is the thing. Whereas all the stages in this feel like half of a level.
It feels like a bad complete level. I'd rather play half a good level than a bad level that's finished.
Too bad that this game has no half good levels. See you next time, folks.